So when was the last time a Disney movie truly felt magical? Not just good, not just entertaining, but magical. I mean, the kind of movie that sticks with you for years. The kind that when you leave the theater, you're humming the songs, you're quoting the characters, and wanting to watch it again as soon as you get home. If you were to ask a lot of people right now, what was the most recent Disney movie you watched that stuck with you? They're not gonna say Wish. They're not gonna say It's a Strange World, and they may not even say Encanto. Instead, people are going to point out to movies like The Lion King, Aladdin, Mulan, Lilo and Stitch, or Tangled, because these are described as the real Disney movies. So, what really happened? Did Disney just suddenly forget how to make great movies? Did the writers lose their creativity? Is modern Disney just too focused on money and on the business aspects? Or is Disney just making the same movies they've always been making? But maybe, and it's unfortunate to say, we're just no longer their target audience. Because here's the thing. Every generation says that their entertainment when they grew up was the best. Your parents probably think that music peaked in the 90s and 80s. Your grandparents probably think that movies peaked when color wasn't a thing. And now we're doing the exact same thing as they did, but with Disney. So today, I want to look into why Disney movies feel so different, why these characters seem so interchangeable, and why Disney keeps making these remakes, and how the business of the animation has changed in general. And of course, the biggest question of all, is Disney really responsible for this decline and this change? Or is nostalgia just playing a bigger role than we all like to admit? Let's start off with the criticism I hear the most. Modern Disney protagonists don't feel unique anymore. I mean, when you think back about the classic Disney lineup, you had characters like Simba who were dealing with the guilt of losing their home and the responsibility of having to fight for it back. Mulan, who's a character completely built off of self-sacrifice and having to prove herself not just to her family and her country, but to herself. And then Belle, someone who was intelligent and curious and was trapped in this small town and faced countless amounts of ridicule for not falling into the societal norms that she was expected for. And then you had people like Cusco, who spends the entire movie learning that treating everybody like assholes is not a great life strategy.
No! You threw off my groove!
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
Sorry! You were saying?
Now, let's compare that to the modern Disney leads of today. I want you to count how many Disney characters that you've heard of have these 5 quality traits. They're quirky, they're optimistic, they're awkward, they crack jokes every few minutes, and they're usually underestimated by the people around them. You've probably just come up with 5 different Disney characters. Now, none of these traits are bad on their own. The problem is that Disney keeps combining them into what is essentially the exact same character. It's become so recognizable that people even joke about the Disney protagonist force. You know, the one where the character is consistently rambling, lots of self-aware humor, and when they speak, it's just a sentence interrupted by another sentence and then another sentence. And the constant stupid jokes like, wait, he's right behind me, isn't he? And once you notice how similar they are, you can't stop noticing it. It's almost like Disney has found a personality generator and they forget to hit random every time they make a new movie. Like, could you imagine if every Marvel superhero acted like Spider-Man? Spider-Man works because he's Spider-Man. If Captain America, Thor, Doctor Strange, and Wolverine all had the exact same sense of humor, audiences would get tired pretty quickly. And we know this because Marvel, who is also owned by Disney, has accidentally fallen into the trap of making some of their Marvel characters sound the same. And it's pretty obvious that people don't like that. And another more of a minor point that's a personal grievance for me, I really don't like how Disney has given up on the villains. When you think back of classic Disney villains, you're thinking of icons like Scar from The Lion King, Ursula from The Little Mermaid, Jafar from Aladdin, and Hades from Hercules. So you see, these people weren't just characters. They weren't just obstacles. Just like their protagonist counterparts, they had unique goals and ambitions and personality traits. These were characters that people loved. And more often than not, they were more memorable than the heroes. Scar from The Lion King literally traumatized an entire generation of children by killing someone, and we all still love him to this day. And that's the problem. Modern Disney has shifted away from their traditional villains. Instead, they've kind of stuck with the whole idea of internal conflict. Maybe there's a misunderstanding, maybe society's a problem, or maybe the twist villain is actually developed until the last 20 minutes of the movie. And you know which one I'm talking about. And yes, sometimes this can work, but sometimes it doesn't. Twist villains can be fun. Internal conflict can be understanding and complex. But the thing people remember the most is a villain who helped drive the story, helped push the narrative, and helped change the protagonist for the greater good. But when almost every movie tries to surprise the audience instead of building an interesting antagonist from the beginning, the emotional payoff dies. People remember villains because they spend the whole movie watching them, not because they suddenly reveal themselves or that the villain was just inside the person the entire time. Now, if we're being fair, I can't just blame Disney. Disney isn't just an animation studio anymore. They're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, entertainment company on the planet. And just like any other business, they have a responsibility to their shareholders. Every movie represents hundreds of millions of dollars. A single animated movie today can cost over $200 million, and that's even before marketing. There is an incredible amount of money to gamble on an original idea. So, what do businesses do when the stakes get higher? They reduce risk. That's why we see the sequels, the spin-offs, and live action remakes. We're going to talk about those soon. You see, familiar stories are a safer environment for these investors. It's the same reason why a restaurant isn't going to remove their best-selling hamburger just to try out squid tacos. Now, could squid tacos become a hit? Possibly. But at the end of the day, burgers pay the bills. Disney isn't just necessarily asking, what's the most creative story? They're asking, what's the story that will most likely make us back $600 million? Those are two very different questions. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the remakes and live actions. You see, when Disney announced their live action Cinderella, people were really excited. And I was one of those people. As a kid, I remember watching that movie and actually enjoying it. I thought it looked great. I thought the acting was amazing. And I was excited to see more. And then came out the live action Jungle Book, which is a movie I loved so much that I forced my parents to buy me a CD of it so I could watch it at home at any time. And then Disney kind of just kept pumping these out. You had Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, Aladdin, and Mulan, and The Little Mermaid. I started thinking to myself that, this sure is a lot of live action remakes. I wonder when Disney's going to make up something new. Spoiler alert, they didn't. They even went as far as announcing a live action Moana starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, even though the animated movie has barely been around for even a decade. And at this point, Disney could announce a live action remake like Frozen, and people would still ask, but didn't that movie come out during Obama's presidency? That's not that old. See, the thing is, the internet loves to make fun of these remakes. But the uncomfortable truth is that most of these movies made a ridiculous amount of money. Disney isn't ignoring criticism. They're just responding to ticket sales. If the audience truly wanted them to stop with the remakes, people would stop buying tickets. And historically, we haven't done that. Now, here's a part of the discussion I've been dying to talk about, because I think this is where people are getting it wrong. Everybody remembers The Lion King. Everybody remembers Beauty and the Beast. Everyone remembers Aladdin. But nobody remembers your everyday average Disney movie that came out between those classics. Disney has always had weaker films. You had Home of the Range, Brother Bear, Chicken Little. Now, some of these did become cult classics later on, and some of them disappeared, almost completely being forgotten. You see, history filters out what's average. We only remember the masterpieces and forget the ones that were basically mediocre. So when you compare Disney's old to their new, we're usually comparing average movies to yesterday's greatest hits. And that's not exactly fair. Now, here comes the pill that's the hardest to swallow. Kids experience movies a lot differently than the adults. And that's something my generation is still coming to terms with. Because when we were 7 years old, we didn't care about the predictable story structures. We didn't notice the repeated character types, and you weren't caring that the third act felt rushed. You just wanted to watch the movie. Everything felt magical because it was new to us. But now that we're grown up and adults, we've seen hundreds of movies. We've watched Pixar, DreamWorks, Studio Ghibli, Marvel, DC, and anime. At this point, we've developed expectations. We're a lot harder than to surprise. And Disney isn't necessarily trying to surprise us anymore. They're trying to entertain today's children the same way they entertained us 20 years ago. But the problem is, we're not today's children. We expect Disney to grow with us, but Disney expects us to move on and let the next generation have their turn. Now, just saying that we grew up doesn't excuse everything. Disney absolutely deserves some of their criticism. I mean, some of the recent stories have felt overly safe. Some dialogue feels too modern for the world that they're creating, and their humor more often than not undercuts the emotional moments instead of supporting them. One of my biggest inspirations of making this video was after I saw Disney's trailer for the newest original movie, Hexed. Now, since this trailer has dropped, people have immediately started complaining. Now, a lot of the complaints stem from the main character, Billy, voiced by Haley Steinfeld. A lot of people complain that she's just too previous to Disney's heroines. Comments under the trailer on YouTube say things like, "Here we go again," and "Who let Disney keep making these movies?" People are arguing that she looks and acts like every other quirky teenage girl who has just discovered some magical powers and has to save the world. Now, whether that's fair or not to judge the movie based off something as small as a trailer doesn't really matter. The fact that people had that reaction immediately says something about Disney's reputation. Before audiences even know the story, they've already decided they know exactly what kind of movie this is going to be. And honestly, I can understand why people feel that way. When you put Billy next to characters like Asha from Wish, Anna from Frozen, and Rapunzel from Tangled, Maribel from Encanto, you start to notice the patterns. Big expressive faces, fast-talking dialogue, clumsy but lovable personalities, a teenager who's underestimated until she discovers she's more important than she's thought. Again, none of these traits are bad when they're individual, but after seeing them over and over and over again, audiences still start to feel like Disney's just playing it safe. So, after everything, we're brought back to the same question we started with. Why don't these Disney movies feel the same anymore? Is it because Disney's changed? Is it because the animation industry has changed? Or maybe us as audiences have changed? Maybe social media has clouded our judgment and changed the way we discuss and love movies? Or can we just blame the billion-dollar companies and move on? Yes, every single one of those are true. Yes, maybe Disney isn't living its golden age anymore, but who are we to say what the golden age really was? Every generation is going to say that their childhood was the golden age, but the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Disney still has a ton of talented artists, voice actors, and creators, and they're still going to continue to release great movies from time to time. But the company also does rely on familiarity. And at the same time, it's time that we as a generation kind of have to realize that no movie will ever recreate the feeling you had when you first watched The Lion King or Princess and the Frog or Frozen. That's not because Disney forgot how to make magic. It's because part of that magic came from us being kids. And unfortunately, Disney can't remake every animated movie they've made. And at the end of the day, they can't remake your childhood.